All right, what do you say, everybody? Peter Vexelman here, and I got my cohort on this side, Julie. Actually doing this a couple ways today, Julie. I'm really experimenting today. I'm doing this live on Instagram, on social media, and we're doing it live on Zoom. So we're going to see how this works out. But glad you guys are here. We got some really cool stuff today. Today, we're going to be talking to you guys about driving for dollars. All right. Today, it's all about driving for dollars and how to find deals in your marketplace. And, we're going to talk about a specific strategy, and Julie, I'm loving these pop-up trainings we're starting to do. Julie and I started doing these a couple of weeks ago. Okay. And we're committed to it because Julie and I, we have two missions. One, we want to do more real estate deals ourselves. Okay. And how we do it is one of two. And so the two missions we have is either A, we want to attract people that want to do deals with us, because we actually partner with people and we help them close on real estate deals. The second mission is that if you're not going to do it with us, we at least want to give you some value, right? We want to give you some value. We want to teach you. And so we're going to start doing these. I think we're doing another one, Julie, correct me if I'm wrong, this Friday, right? Or Thursday?
Yeah, I think it's Thursday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Yep, we're going to do another pop-up training then. But the goal is to kind of give you guys value of what it takes to be a real estate investor, okay? Of what it takes to monetize in this business, of what it takes to really, really, really capitalize. And today we're going to be talking about a strategy, okay? A strategy on finding deals. And I'm gonna be honest with you guys. This is a strategy that I have utilized in the very beginning of my career, and now a couple decades later, I don't necessarily do deals. I don't go out there and find my own deals. I have partners I work with, and we teach our partners to do it. But guys, like, there are some things that change in this business. This is not. I mean, I did this 22 years ago, and still to this day. As a matter of fact, Julie, Jamari, right? One of our most amazing partners, and we just closed he said 11th deal together. And in Jamari, like the ultimate driving for dollars dude?
Oh yes, he is. He is the king of the unfindables. So I'm pretty, definitely amazed at his action. But you know what's different about Jamari, as opposed to a lot of other people? Jamari is willing to do what others aren't willing to do. He's willing to step outside of his comfort zone and do what makes him uncomfortable, right? And that's why, he was able to find these 11 deals. And then hopefully, over the years, that's just the beginning of 11 deals, right? So, but I'm super excited to share a presentation with you guys about driving for dollars, and how you can find the unfindables yourself in your area. I think, Peter, it's first, for those of you that are new on this call, I think it's important that we go over, where do you even do this at? Where are the best places to invest in real estate investing, right? Yep. Where are the hot pockets? Where are these, I like to call them blue collar, working class areas? Where are they? When you know that, that's the key to the kingdom, is knowing exactly where to be, right, Peter?
Yeah, no question. So what we're going to do is we're going to cover that, exactly what Julie said. I'm going to talk to you about, like, if you're out there right now and you're thinking, okay, I want to find a real estate deal. Where do I even start? I'm glad about all this driving for dollars, but what location do I go to? I'm going to share with you a little bit about that. We're going to expand then upon the whole concept of driving for dollars. Then Julie and I are going to get in talking to you guys specifically about, what it means to be our partner, because I know a number of you guys are on here today and you're not yet our partner. Some of you guys are partners here today, and we're so glad you guys are here. This is another value add for you. But we're going to share with you, for those of you that are not our partners, what it means to be our partner. We're going to even share with you how you could become a partner today and immediately. So we got a lot of things to go over, but we don't, the reason we call these pop-up is we want to make them kind of short. We know everyone's busy. So let's get into the thick of things. Driving for dollars. The concept of driving for dollars is very simple. It is identifying certain areas where there is a very good chance there's a good real estate deal located. And then it is literally driving into those areas, and then beyond the areas, specifically being able to identify and pinpoint the actual potential properties in there that have the best chance of being good deals. So like Julie said, let's first take a step back and let's talk about where do you even go? Like if you're in a car, what neighborhood are you going to go to do your driving for dollars? And what I always tell people is this: what you want to go into neighborhoods where you live that basically have a mixture of everything. They got a little bit of this, they got a little bit of that. Now, each area in of itself should be about a couple miles wide. So I always say find something that's about 2 to 3, maybe 4 miles wide. In the end, try to find about 3, 4, or 5 pockets like that. And that's where you really want to spend your time and effort in terms of doing your driving for dollars. So let's talk about these specific pockets. What do they look like? Remember, again, the key in these pockets that you want to be actually going into is you want to make sure they have a mixture of real estate and a mixture of people. So the best way to identify, are you in the right pocket, is when you're driving through that pocket, you want to kind of just like look to your left, look to your right. And the question you're going to be asking yourself, what are you seeing there? And literally what you want to be seeing there is you want to be seeing different types of real estate and different types of people. So in these pockets, you may be driving there and you may see like a for rent sign. Well, what is that? What does a for rent sign tell you? Well, it tells you renters live there. But then you could be driving in the exact same area and now you could see, let's say, a for sale sign. Well, what does a for sale sign tell you? It tells you homeowners live there. So you may have a mixture of renters and homeowners living together. You may be driving there and you may see a newer property, and then you're driving there and all of a sudden you may see an older property. So you have a mixture of real estate, some newer stuff, some older stuff. You may be driving there and you may see like a rehab going on, a property that's in pretty bad condition, right? But then you're also driving there and at the exact same time, you may see a drop dead gorgeous property. You may be driving there and you may see like residential house. And then all of a sudden you come across potentially a commercial building. You may be there and you may be looking at single family homes and all of a sudden you see an apartment building. You may be there and you may be looking at a guy walking in a street and he's a white guy. And then you go 2 blocks down the road and you see maybe a black guy. So the bottom line is this: you're in the right pocket to do driving for dollars when you're thinking to yourself, goodness, I see a little bit of everything here. And the reason behind identifying these pockets where you literally see this mixture is because what this mixture ultimately creates is it creates what are known in real estate as pricing fluctuations. Meaning in that same neighborhood, you could be driving and you see a house and you call on it and it's for sale for, $50,000. And all you do is you go up 1 block down the road, you see another house for sale, and that house could be for sale literally for twice as much, right? 100,000. You may be going another block, you see another house for sale, that could be for sale for 30,000. And what happens? So here's the logic. You want to find areas that have a mixture of real estate, because a mixture of real estate and a mixture of people create these pricing fluctuations. And in turn, these pricing fluctuations create the number one environment where almost all the good deals are located. And so and I'll flip it over to Julie to get started on that piece, before we talk about specifically what are you looking for inside these neighborhoods, the first thing is find, and I always tell people, like I said, find 3, 4, 5 pockets like that, areas like that where you live, identify them, you know what you're looking for, and then those are the areas that you want to start doing your driving for dollars in. Julie, talk a little bit about driving for dollars specifically, kind of from your end.
Okay, I certainly will. So are you seeing my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So what I would like to do is really kind of go into the nuts and bolts of what is driving for dollars. Okay. So I have a question for everybody. Let's have a little bit of fun today. Is that okay? Okay, great. Does everybody know where the chat is in Zoom? Check your chat because I have some questions for you. Now, listen, I promise you that it pertains to real estate, but just play along with me. All right. So, you know, Peter, one dream that I have is to one day own a classic car. In particular, I would love to have a 63 Corvette. I love the car. It's just something I've always wanted. Even like one that's super ugly is about like $100,000, right? But let me ask you, anybody that's on this call, if you were to have, let's say money wasn't an issue, Peter, and like you just had it to spend. If you could buy any classic car, what would it be? And guys, go ahead and put that in the chat right now. If you were to buy any classic car, what would it be? I would love to hear from you. Ooh, Patrice says a 76 Caprice. That's a good one, Patrice. Maybe Crystal says a 67 Chevy Nova. That's awesome. All right, keep them coming, guys. Let me know. Well, what would that cool classic car be? Okay. Oh, Bob wants a Humvee, an Army surplus Humvee. I bet you do, Bob. He's been with us for a while and he's been in the military. Al says a 67 Nova. Kristen says a 67 Dodge Charger. Okay. So now everybody stay with me here. Let's just pretend that it's a 67 Nova. Okay. So Peter, I have been wanting this 67 Nova like my entire life. Money's not a problem. And I've been desperately looking for one like everywhere, right? And sure enough, I'm driving down the road and guess what I see? In somebody's yard, a 67. Absolutely. And the grass has grown up around it. The tires are flat. It's got dents. It's got scrapes. It's got bruises. But remember, I've wanted this 67 Nova and I can't find one. And it's what I've always been looking for. Now tell me this. What would you do in that exact moment? Let me know in chat. What would you do in that exact moment to buy that car? Money's not an option and it's something you've wanted for forever. What would you do? Type it in the chat. Joseph says he'd knock on the door and ask about it. Patricia said she would look at the owner ASAP, knock on the door, stop and ring the bell. You guys are right. Find out who owns it. See, driving for dollars is the same example as what I just gave you with that classic car. Okay. So what I mean by that is, would any of you have any problems knocking on that door to get that 67 Nova? Absolutely, you wouldn't. The conversation would probably go something like this. Hey, oh my God, I was driving by and guess what? I have been wanting that car my entire life. It is exactly what I've been looking for. And I was just wondering if there's any way I could make you an offer for it. Number one, probably the owner of that car is not going to get upset because, my God, they're letting grass grow around it. The tires are flat. It's got dings, scrapes, and bruises. Okay? That same feeling you just had about that car is the same exact way you should go when you're driving for dollars. The same way that I talk to somebody about that old car is the same way I'm going to talk to them about the house. Because guess what? I'm in real estate. This is the house that I've been looking for. It is exactly what I've been wanting, right? Also, if you're a partner of ours, you can knock on that door or call someone with confidence because we put up the funds for the deals and split profits 50-50, right? So money's not an objection. You wanting it shouldn't be an objection. and it needs the work you're looking for, right? So now that we've gotten past the mental roadblock here, just always think about it as something like a classic car. Okay, so let's see here. What should you be looking for? Let's talk about what you should and what you shouldn't be looking for. And guys, keep playing along with me in the chat here. So when you're driving around and you're looking for properties that are in distress, what are some things that you might physically see about the property that leads you to believe that the home, or maybe that the owners, are in a distressed situation? What are some physical attributes? Kristen said boarded up windows, broken, sheets in the windows instead of blinds. Rodney says no gas or no electric meter. Come on, guys. All the answers are great. We'll all learn together here. Maybe there's a bunch of newspapers laying in the yard, the mailbox is stuff. There's tall grass. Maybe the eaves and overhangs are rotten. The gutters are hanging off the house. There's trash strewed everywhere. There's old cars in the yard. Now, I want you to think about all these things, but I also want to show you where when it's too far gone, it's too far gone, right? So if you're looking here at my screen, you'll notice I put some examples up. Has anybody ever seen that old movie with Tom Hanks called The Money Pit, where they bought that old house and then every time something would go wrong and something else would go wrong and something else would go wrong? Well, that is definitely, even though that's a fictional story, that is a true story. Okay. Here's some examples of homes on here that I would never go after unless they were in an area where the land value is super high. But like if you see this one on the top left, I mean, come on, that's a tear down, right? You're never going to renovate that. It's going to cost you more to renovate that than it would to even just build a brand new one. This one's got ivy growing all up in it. The roof is bad. Wouldn't mess with this one. Same here. You know, you've got asbestos siding. You've got windows are torn down. It's a big house. It would be easier to rebuild this. When you're looking for these properties, you're going to be just like Tom Hanks and Shelley Long in Money Pit, right? So we want to stay away from these particular homes. However, let's talk about what we do like. Okay, so these pictures here are all deals that Peter and I done over the years. Okay, like if you look at the bottom right hand picture, this one right here, we did Driving for Dollars looking for these properties. What about this particular property do you think I was looking for, or that I noticed about this deal? Yeah, put it in the chat. The bushes, shrubs, yeah. They're hanging up over it, right? Do y'all notice this big place on top of the roof? Yep, the roof. These old awnings. The grass is grown up. This is a prime example of a property that needs rehabbing, that needs work. And there could be a lot done with this. I mean, my goodness, if you just cut the bushes in the front, the house would look a lot better, wouldn't it? You probably know it needs new eaves, it needs a new roof. So that's a great one, right? And Joseph said, yeah, it just needs a facelift. You're exactly right. Well, look at this one at the bottom left. This is actually in Dahlonega, where I live in Georgia. Now, what caught my eye about this property is this one was in the fall. What can you tell about this property that you think that I wanted to call them? Leaves, yep. What else? What does it look like to you? Needs cleanup? Robert, ding, ding, ding. You're right. This property looks absolutely vacant. There's no one here. You don't see any curtains in the window. You see no signs of people actually living there, right? You always want to look for these type of properties too. This property right here, we bought, cleaned up the yard, literally cleaned up the inside, and made about $43,000 on this property. Now, how did I find this property? Again, just like I said earlier, driving around looking. And if you guys want me to, I'll go over the exact script today that you're going to talk to sellers about to get these properties under contract. Okay. Now, this one is another home in Jacksonville, Florida. Same thing here, overgrown landscape. You got some issues right here at the beginning of the fascia boards. It's a little bit dated. You could tell by the lattice. The other one that I saw, and I wished I had a bigger picture of this one. This picture with the American flag in it. This one, the reason why I called this one is because I knew that tenants lived there, or I guess that tenants lived there. Because when you drove by this house, there was literally trash all over this yard. So I was just assuming that maybe the landlord was tired of them trashing their place up. But when you looked at the siding and the paint and things, you could tell it was just kind of fixed up, but somebody's came in there and trashed it, right? So now, before we move any further, does anybody have any questions about what you should be looking for when you're out driving for dollars?
Julie, got a couple questions on social media. What if all the properties you're showing, are they one-offs that people are looking for? Like, what if you're driving a neighborhood and the whole neighborhood looks like that? Would you call on every one of those properties, or that's just the neighborhood you want to stay away from?
Well, it depends. I would say if you go to a neighborhood where every house looks like that, right? You're probably in a place that's not very high end, right?
Mm-hmm.
So unless you already have buyers in that area to wholesale to, then I would not go after those. Now I'll tell you, when we owned our place there in Jacksonville, Florida, when we had our properties there,
Mm-hmm.
I had buyers that bought in those places. So I didn't mind to go after those. But here's one piece of advice. You never want to be the prettiest house on the block. You never want to be the prettiest house on the block because you probably over-conditioned that home. But for people that like low-end rental properties, then when you're in a neighborhood like that, I would say you could go after them. But me personally, number one, if I'm afraid to pick up rent there, I don't want to own a house like that. So absolutely no war zones. Thank you, Robert. I was trying to think of the name of that, the word there. Any other questions? Okay. So y'all want to talk about making some money on these? I'm going to give you guys a script to use right now that can change your life. And I really do mean that, because this is a script that I've used for years. Now, I want you guys to go all the way back to what we were talking about earlier. Remember how we were talking about the way we were talking to that individual about those classic cars? Y'all remember the 67 Nova conversation? That same exact energy that I had about that car is the same exact energy that I'm going to have when I'm talking to sellers about their property. Okay? I am not trying to act like I'm some big time real estate investor. I'm not. I'm actually not even going to use the word real estate investor. I would rather position myself as like just Julie from down the road that just so happens to buy houses. Okay. Now, who on here is afraid to make cold calls on Instagram, on Zoom? A lot of you better be raising your hands, because I know a lot of you are, right? It can be very nerve-wracking. It can be scary, right? But if you take away all of the fear that you have and understand you're just talking to somebody about their house and it's the best thing that you've ever seen, then you're going to do well. Listen, there are like two different types of people in this world, Peter. One, there are fighters, and number two, there are fleers. Number one, fighter. Number two, a fleer. Okay. And I'll tell you, Pete, like 90% of people always choose to flee a situation. And hey, that's okay. I've got a snake coming after me. Yeah, I'm probably going to take off running, right? There's nothing wrong with that. But why? Let's think about the thought process with people. Why do you think people choose to flee any situation in life? Tell me in the chat. Why do you think people choose to flee any situation in life? Fear. That's right, Crystal. Fear. Vonda says fear. Uncomfortable. Absolutely. Fear of rejection, fear of the unknown. See, everything boils down to one state of fear. Okay? Your job on these calls is not to get a deal. You heard me right. I'm going to say it again. Your job on this call is not to get a deal. Your job on this call is to stop someone from fleeing the situation. Your job on this call is to stop someone from fleeing this situation. How do you do that? Number one, and if you learn anything from this call today, learn this. Stop trying to act and talk like you're someone else. Just be you. I knew people know the difference when you're pretending. They know the difference when they're being sold. So quit listening to YouTube videos on how to make cold call scripts. Use them as a guide, but be a good listener. Be a good listener and be yourself. I personally had to be myself. I've got this crazy accent. I'm just not just going to get up one day and just get rid of a Southern accent. At least I don't think so. Right? So I'm going to use that to my advantage. So now that we've gotten over that, and remember the car, you wouldn't be afraid to call about the car. Here's how the call's going to go. All right? Ring, ring. Hey, John, this is Julie. How are you doing today? Oh, good, good, good. Well, actually, the reason for my call is I was driving down Main Street, and I believe you own this property over here at 1735. Yes, I own 1735 Main Street. Why are you calling? Well, you see, the reason is I buy, fix, and sell houses, and I buy and rent them out. And whenever I saw yours, I mean, it's exactly what I've been looking for. And I was just wondering if there is any way that I could come out there, take a look at the property, and make you an offer for it. Now, I'm going to break this down a little bit. If you'll notice, I did not use the script verbatim, okay? So we'll start from the beginning. I like to start with to assume someone's name. First thing that happens whenever you get a phone call, I want you to think about this. Hi, is this James Rush speaking? Immediately, James, what are you thinking? You're like, oh my God, they're going to sell me something or I owe some money. At least that's what I think. Right? Instead, if I go, hey, James, this is Julie. How are you doing today? You know what James is thinking? Julie. Do I know her? She's calling me like she knows me. Right? I've literally said people say, oh, do I know you? Okay. So now I'm going to go into why I'm calling. Well, James, the reason for my call is I was driving down Main Street and I saw this property that I believe that you own at 1735. That's the same exact way of asking the question, are you the property owner of 1735 Main Street? But I'm stating it and I'm not asking the question just like a script, okay? Yes, I own that property. What can I do for you? Well, James, I buy, fix, and sell houses and I buy and rent them out. Isn't that the same as a real estate investor? I say that because what if James drives a truck for a living? You know, a dump truck for a living. He's not into real estate, right? You're on this call because you're in real estate. This, you know, the guy that drives a dump truck, he may not know nothing about real estate. So when I say I'm a real estate investor, how do you think that makes James feel? What are your immediate thoughts of how he would feel if I called myself a real estate investor at that moment? Flustered? No, he's probably thinking they're going to give me a low ball offer and try to sneak something around me. That's exactly what he's thinking. Yeah, Joseph, you're trying to steal his house. But instead, I want to say I buy, fix, and sell houses and I buy and rent them out. For me, that's the same thing. And I was just calling to see if there's any way I could come out there and make you an offer for it. I mean, it's exactly what I've been looking for. Just like I said with that 67 Nova, right? Well, I reckon you could come out and make me an offer. Okay, well, how does today at 5 sound? Or tomorrow at 3? Whenever you're looking for an appointment, never ask when can you meet. You always offer up 2 separate times. And when you offer up these 2 separate times, they're going to be thinking about what they're doing on these days instead of telling you whether or not they can meet you. I promise everybody on this call, and this is a bold, bold, bold statement, Peter.
Okay.
If you go out and you do exactly what I just told you, right? And you go find 80 to 100 properties. It may not even take 80 to 100 properties of what I just showed you. You cold call them and do nothing but try to build a relationship and get out there just to see this house. You will close on a deal. You will close on a deal. So some of you are probably thinking, well, Julie, you didn't ask him anything about the house. I don't need to. I drove by and I seen it. That's all I need to know. And in the beginning, guys, a lot of us are out there and you're trying to overqualify these leads. Oh, well, they're not going to, I don't like his attitude. They're not going to go down on the price. Or he bought it 2 years ago for this. He's not going to sell for this. Stop putting words into people's mouths. You really want to learn this business? You know how to learn this business? You go to appointments, whether you're going to get the deal or not. That's how you learn this business. So what I encourage all of you right now to do is just go on appointments, whether you think it's a deal or not. Because let me tell you what happens when I leave an appointment that's not a deal. They're going to refer me out. I guarantee you they're going to refer me out. They're going to know what I do. I'm going to build a relationship with somebody else in my city. Here's my question to everybody on social media. For those of you on Instagram, on Peter's side, I want you to put this in the chat or in the, whatever that's called, the comment section. For those of you on Zoom, for those of you that are on Zoom, what's today, Tuesday? How many driving for dollar properties are you going to find this week? That's today, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Okay? How many? Put it in the chat. How many properties can you go find of things that I just showed you? let me know. Because you need to hold yourself accountable. When you put something out there in the environment, right, you're more likely to achieve your goal. 10 a day for me. Maria says 20, at least 5, 20, 30, 75 to 100 out. I like you, man. 75 to 100. I can literally go find 30 properties in an hour if I went driving around. You can too. What you do is once you start, you're not going to be able to unsee these properties anymore. You're going to see them everywhere in every city you go to. Utilizing our Deal Driven app on your phone. Get this. I just want to show you the power. Let me tell y'all how I used to do driving for dollars. I would write them down in an address book, right? Then I'd come back and I would skip trace them to find the owner. Well, now you can literally take your phone with the Deal Driven app, add properties, and skip trace them while you're on the road. That is nuts. So there's no excuse there. So if you don't have Deal Driven, get Deal Driven. But by the way, if you are a partner, you already have Deal Driven, because as a partner, we're going to give you this at no additional cost. Why? Because when our partners succeed, we succeed. Okay. So I would, if everybody don't mind, do y'all mind if I take a minute to explain for those of you that aren't partners, what it's like to be a partner here at Partner Driven? Do you guys mind? I don't want to, waste anybody's, do any time here, but I do want to let you know, because I believe in what we do so much, because this business changed my life. And for a lot of you, it can help you too. But what did I say earlier? You've got to be willing to do what others aren't willing to do. If you're already a partner, just hear me out, okay? Every chance you have, remember what your goals are. This is a strategy that you can do without spending a ton of money, but it does take effort, okay? So what does it mean to be a partner? Number one of the biggest objections people have in this business is they don't know where to start. Where are the deals? How do we find them? What number should we go off of, right? Well, we do provide daily training. Yes, that is Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time, not to mention our pop-up trainings, our Monday night and our Tuesday night. We keep our master coaches available 12 hours a day. We are unlike any company because we are partners. You're not a student. We are not the gurus. You are business partners. When you're successful, we're successful. So we want to give you everything you need to take your business to the next level. So we're going to give you access to our revolutionary Deal Driven app. What is Deal Driven? Deal Driven, by the way, if you join us tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'm going to show y'all some really cool lists to pull to start closing some deals too on top of that. So don't forget to join Peter and I tonight. I don't know if it's just going to be me tonight, but tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you're going to get Deal Driven. Guess what? We're going to give you 1,000 leads. 1,000 leads a month. That's 1,000 leads to get skip traced. Okay. Do you know how much skip tracing is? That sometimes can be up to 50 cents to $1 a piece. We're going to take care of that for you. You're going to be able to look up property information. You're also going to get access to something new that we've created. Actually, Miss Kristen, Patrice, Rafa created this really cool system that I use right now. It's called Deal Engine. Well, you're like, Julie, all your words say deal. I know we made all of our companies sound alike. But when you take your property information from deal driven. Okay, whether it's driving for dollars, whether you're pulling a list, you're going to place these inside of Deal Engine. And when I say it's an engine, it's probably as good of an engine as that 67 Nova, promise you. It runs that good. So you're going to put your leads in there, and you're going to be able to have a dialer. You're going to be able to do SMS, and you're going to be able to leave voicemails, text, email, phone, all done for you. What you think you could do on your own, it's like hiring 3 or 4 more employees. Do we at Partner Driven charge our partners for Deal Engine, even though it's not free to us? Absolutely not. Now, why would we be so crazy to pick up the bill on that? That's because we feel so confident in this system and your ability to follow up with sellers. It is worth its weight in gold. So we're going to give you that. Also, you're going to get training on that. Then, once you find a deal and we start doing the deal together, a lot of times people lose the deal at the closing table, or they don't know when to put it in escrow. They don't know how to read contracts. Do you know what we've decided to do? The same ladies that close our deals, that close all of Peter's deals, that close mine, do you think Peter and I are connecting with attorneys and title companies? I'll be honest, that's one part of the business that I've never really done that much of. I understand it, right? And I've done it for myself. But we're going to use our closing team to help you close the deal, because the last thing we want for you is your deal to fall apart at the closing table. So you get our back office. Well, Peter, they're probably like, well, okay, it gets to the closing table and the property's $115,000 and needs $30,000 to fix up. How am I going to get that money? You're going to get that money because, again, we believe so much in our partners that we not only show them how to do it, provide daily training, provide the systems you need to be efficient, we're going to actually fund the deals with you. That's right. We're going to fund the complete part of your deal. Why is that important? I'll tell you why. It's important because not only do you get the funding, but if something ever goes wrong, it's not on you. It's not on you. Mitigating the risk, to me, is actually probably more impressive than the actual funding side of it. We closed on a property yesterday, like literally yesterday, with a partner. Her name is Miss Patricia. This was a $400,000 house in Orlando. $400,000 house. It needs $75,000 worth of work. That's a pretty big risk, wouldn't you say? Now, we've done our due diligence. We are hoping for 100,000 plus profit share on that. Sometimes things go wrong. It's not going to go wrong on this one. I'm putting that in the environment right now. We don't want to go wrong on this one for her either. But sometimes things go wrong in this business. If you're in this business for any amount of time, you will lose money on a deal. If you haven't, you hadn't done enough deals, I promise you. Nobody comes to you and asks you for the $30,000 more it costed in repairs. Let me ask you this question. What is that worth to you? What is mitigating that loss? What is that worth to you? What is having systems and apps and someone there to talk to when you don't know how to take the next step? What is that worth to you? I can tell you the cost to be one of our partners is less than a down payment for a loan to buy a house. That's right. So if you would like to be one of our partners, we are accepting more partners at this time. We want people that are hungry, ready to go, and ready to change their life forever. if you are ready to become one of our partners and be a member of our family, we got a lot of cool people in our a lot of cool partners, don't we, Peter?
Absolutely.
I mean, they're cool. They're cooler than we are. I'm just gonna say. So, Peter, what's the best way for people to apply to be one of our partners?
Well, we do have a number of team members on standby today. So, but I'm going to do something I don't usually do. If you're not a partner yet and you're ready to get started right now, it's going to cost you somewhere between $1,500 and $2,500 to start with us today. If you have it, not for more questions, but if you're ready to get started today, I want you to actually call me directly, personally, right now. And my number is 404-915-9685. So if you're ready to get started, you have between $1,500, $2,500 available, and you're ready to make the decision now, call me directly. If you have some more questions than you need answered, no problem there. Also, we have a number of teammates on standby, and you can get a hold of them at 770-746-8585. That's 770-746-8585. So
Yep.
that's what it takes to be a partner, guys. You know, this is what we do. We do real estate deals, and all of our deals are with partners. So we are always, before Julie and I would every day chase deals. I mean, literally from morning, noon, and night. That's all we did is we looked for deals. We don't do that anymore. We now morning, noon, and night look for more partners because this is our marketing. This is like people say, well, you guys are always looking for partners. Yes, the way we used to look for deals every day, we now look for partners because we are 100% committed to the partner model. Okay.
We're building an army, aren't we?
We're building an army. And so the more partners we have, the more ability we have to get started and do more and more and more deals. If you're ready to get going, call me directly. If you want some more questions answered, call a teammate, and we'll answer whatever questions you have.
Okay.
That's all we have, Julie. Is there anything else we need to cover?
No, that's really all I've got. The only thing I would say is, how everybody put how many properties that they're going to go to this week?
Yes.
You really need to stick to yourself with that goal, not just having an accountability partner, but get a sticky note, put it somewhere. Give one thing a good solid try, and you will definitely find results there. That's all I've got. I wish everybody a beautiful Tuesday. Join us tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we show you exactly how to pull some of the hottest lists available inside of Deal Driven, and show you some really cool features in there to help streamline your process and find your next best deal. Thank you very much. Have a beautiful Tuesday. Bye-bye.
Guys, bye-bye.